A snowstorm is now likely across areas of the southeast this weekend, but of course we know that the southeast is a pretty large area of the country, so who exactly is going to see it? Here to give you all the new information that we have on this event upcoming. Expect last second heartbreaks, but expect some last second excitements too, and that's just how it is when trying to figure out snow for the south. So the first thing we'll do is we'll go over all the individual model runs, and then we'll show you all these fancy and flashy snowfall graphics. And then we'll geek out with you guys a little bit, discuss the energy associated with the storm system itself. We'll talk a little bit on the longer range into January. We'll go over today's weather, and then we'll wrap the video up. My name is Mitch. Good Thursday morning. I hope you guys are doing awesome out there. Subscribe if you haven't. Like the video if you like it. And if anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below. Let's get rocking and rolling this morning. So let's go over the latest Euro, and I do have the morning Euro loaded up, so we don't have to wait for it or show you the OOZ. We're just going to get straight to the new information. We're going to start off all guidance with late tomorrow night. So this is your Friday night and a Saturday morning. And the reason we're going to do that is because there is a kind of an appetizer event out ahead of the main time frame we're going to speak on. I do want to watch some moisture that'll surge up into the southern Appalachian Mountains and west and east of it. In the mountains, this will fall in the form of snow. And the green is the rain, the blue is the snow. So we're going to get a little bit of rain on like the Tennessee Valley. The Cumberland Plateau could mix with some snow late tomorrow night. We'll see if this overachieves. And we do got some snowflakes breaking out east of the mountains in the North Carolina, Virginia. But watch this. As we start to move, say, into our Saturday morning, don't let it surprise you one bit if you live in the Piedmont of North Carolina, east of the mountains. I'm talking Hickory, Winston-Salem, Greensboro, maybe as far east as Raleigh. Is if you get like a rain-snow mix Saturday morning, some snow showers will be possible across the Mid-Atlantic. Southern New England, of course, we got some light to moderate snow across areas of West Virginia and just sort of some light to moderate snow across the Midwest and the Great Lakes region. But this system sort of moves on out. This is midday Saturday, maybe some lingering rain, snow showers or something in between across North Carolina. And it'll be cold enough for snow if you can get the moisture in the Mid-Atlantic. So don't be surprised Saturday if it's kind of a festive, sort of light snow-like day across areas of the Mid-Atlantic and Southern New England. But let's move past this time frame and get to the time frame of interest. We're getting into Saturday night. Cold air aloft begins to move in, and also at the surface, especially west of the mountains. You can see that 540 line digging south. That means there's a lot of cold air aloft moving in, and you can see the moisture in the Gulf here. And as we're moving forward, we're getting into Sunday morning. You can already see some snow showing up. That blue showing up down here in Florida. You can see some snow breaking out across eastern areas of the Carolinas, even Georgia. And then we move this forward and we start to get into what would be around mid-morning Sunday morning. Okay, and check it out. Snow's breaking out across southern Georgia, northern Florida. Snow's moving into the low country. And we pull this one more panel over and we get into about midday, early afternoon Sunday. And I know you see this little blob of green here. That would be snow. But it is snowing down into Savannah, the low country of South Carolina. That dark blue right there, that is moderate snow. Snow's breaking out across central to eastern North Carolina. It's snowing here in my neck of the woods. I live here in Columbia, South Carolina. So, of course, I'm kind of right in the nose of this, if you will. So I'm watching this like crazy. Now, as we continue to move into Sunday afternoon, we continue to have this band of moderate snow stretching from southeast Georgia into the low country of South Carolina, up into eastern areas of North Carolina. Show some snow getting as far north, maybe just east of the I-95 corridor across the Mid-Atlantic to the northeast, and does get the axis of heavier snow all the way up into southeast Mass, and we'll have to watch Atlantic Canada. But look at this. Take a little bit of a closer look at this. Okay, the Euro, and we're going to compare this to some other model guys too. There is a battle right now between an amped up scenario and a more suppressed scenario, like what the Euro is showing. Okay, the GFS is definitely more amped up. But here's a closer look at this. Snow for the coast again, just like last year around this time. It is very possible. It's definitely a colder scenario, which is surprising from the Euro. But the Euro has not budged much. So don't be bummed out if you're in Charlotte to Atlanta, okay? Even in Columbia, Greenville, Spartanburg, this typically trends northwest, but it's not going to be as aggressive with the northwest trend as, say, the GFS, which is going to bounce around like crazy. Okay, so here's the GFS. Same thing, teaser appetizer event late tomorrow night and a Saturday morning. It's showing heavy snow in the Cumberland Plateau, central to eastern Kentucky into West Virginia, southern Ohio. Of course, the GFS has a little bit of a cold air bias, so I don't know if we're going to get that much snow down to the Cumberland Plateau of Tennessee tomorrow night and Saturday morning, but we'll see. Shows it tries to show the same scenario into the Piedmont, North Carolina, but it kind of breaks up the moisture. So the GFS not as aggressive with any kind of rain snow kind of mix breaking out east of the mountains into Piedmont, North Carolina, Virginia, things like that. But we'll have to watch this energy up here, Central Apps. But here comes the main show. The GFS just more amped up. So this is the wee hours of the morning. Let's back it up. Yeah, right here. So this is the middle of the night, Saturday night and Sunday morning. And it's got snow breaking out across the deep south. You can see the blue across Mississippi and Alabama. And then you take this into Sunday morning, has an all-out snowstorm from Montgomery, Birmingham points south all the way down to, Biloxi, Mobile. It's snowing in the eastern panhandle of Florida. The snow's breaking out all the way into western areas of the Carolinas. It's snowing in Atlanta. And then we continue to move this forward. And yeah, that's a pretty look. GFS is much more amped up than the Euro. But it actually ticked southeast compared to the overnight GFS. For example, this is the GFS from last night. I personally don't like that. I know my friends and my family, they're snow weather fans to the west of me, love this look. I don't. This would bring too much warm air into the picture, and I would get mainly a cold rain with maybe some flakes mixed in. I like the fact that it ticked a little bit. And of course, this is going to become a battle between who wants snow and where your location is. You're going to be pulling for one thing, and then others will be pulling for the other. But this is the latest GFS, takes an axis of moderate to heavy snow from the panhandle of Florida through Georgia, through areas of South Carolina, and then gets this snow all the way into North Carolina. And that darker shade of blue, that's heavy snow. And it continues, and then it clips, Cape Cod. So let's just take a closer look at this for us in the southeast. Here it comes. That is some heavy snow getting almost all the way up to Atlanta, going right through Columbus, making Augusta into Columbia, Charlotte getting it here too. And this is just a nice, not huge, major, significant snowstorm. For the south it would be, but it is a nice snowstorm. Man, I am pulling like crazy for something like this to happen. And you saw me get hyped up in yesterday morning's video. I'm trying to stay calm because I've had the rug pulled out from under me many times. So from my neck of the woods, I live right here where you see that lake. It's a beautiful look inside 100 hours. So now what about the Canadian model? It is warmer, but it's showing more moisture now. Same thing. Here's the Friday night and the Saturday event. We move past this. It likes the idea of what the Euro is showing some rain, snow showers, even east of the mountains, but definitely in the mountains Saturday morning. So expect some festive time Saturday morning in the mountains. Here comes our moisture coming up. It's much faster. And because the moisture is much faster, the cold air is not in place. This brings moisture in, as early as like late Saturday night. So we already got the bulk of the moisture surging up through the southeast. By the time the cold air works in Sunday morning, the moisture is beginning to exit the region. You got just enough cold air working in and tapping into some moisture for some snow across North Carolina points north. But it's a timing issue. And the AI models are showing something very similar. So I don't know if the AI models are onto something or if they got a long ways to go, but we're about to figure it out with this system big time. So that's the Canadian model. What about the Icon? The Icon finally has been on this, and I love the look personally for where I live. But it finally shows snow breaking out. It's kind of a middle ground between the Euro and the GFS. And low pressure popping off. This is Sunday morning, and an axis of heavy snow stretching from central Georgia, central South Carolina, all the way up into North Carolina, and delivers a swath of accumulating snow. And then you got the NAM, which has an amped up bias, meaning it shows a lot more precipitation in the longer range than what really happens. So I would tread lightly with this, and don't let it fool you, but we can only go all the way out to about Sunday midday, and it does have heavy snow breaking out as far northeast as Columbia, South Carolina, but it shows a huge snowstorm for southern standards, from central Alabama all the way up into Georgia. And this is just getting started. This would probably go on to dump a ton of snow, but don't let this get you too worked up if you live in the northwest areas. And listen, if it don't work out for my area and I get a rain just rain, I'm gonna be upset. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I put my emotions into this. I love snow. It's by far my favorite weather, but I'm also going to continue to be happy for everybody else to get snow, and I can always go up to the mountains, which is kind of my backup plan to all this. But of course, you can't beat snow for your neck of the woods. But the Euro, this was the overnight run, okay? And the reason I don't have really any of the Northeast showing Mid-Atlantic is because it really doesn't do anything for y'all. Now, if we look at the current run, what does it show? Let's look at this. This is the current run, okay? So, overnight run, current run, I would say that it kind of beefed up some of the snow totals down here and maybe up here. Well, let's look at this one more time. Yeah, it in general stayed about the same when you look at the axis of everything. Do not get bummed out if you're in Atlanta to Greenville, Spartanburg, that interstate corridor up to Charlotte, okay? This could easily trend. You want to be on the northwest side of this system. You don't want to be in the jackpot area. Now, this could easily work out exactly the way it's showing here. That's been the thing the last several winters. 2018, last year. But, of course, if you're along the coast, you want to continue to keep the Euro look. But it shows a swath of accumulating snow, and it does kind of cut off Florida there. Let's look at Florida. But it shows that swath of accumulating snow. I mean, look at Florida. Touch of snow. Look at southeast Georgia, and then we go back up into the Carolinas here. So it doesn't show a whole lot from my neck of the woods, but it could easily trend better. And then you look at the ensemble run. Now, I don't think the 06Z has ran yet. I'm going to check it here in a second. But this is the OOZ ensemble, the EPS, which is one of the best things in the world you can look at when it comes to model guides. And it indicates the signal for snow still along the coastline. You got that inch to an inch and a half to 2 inch snowfall mean, stretching from southeast Georgia, the eastern Carolinas, all the way up into southeast Virginia, and it lessens up the further northwest you get. But I like this look personally. But of course, you want this to bump to the northwest if you live in these areas. So do we have, say, the 06Z run? We don't. It only goes out to Friday night. So I'll try to go back to this and we'll see what it shows. We'll keep that tab up. Now, if we look at the GFS, of course, it's more amped up. It wants to deliver just a classic snowstorm from southern Alabama, even the panhandle of Florida, southern areas of Mississippi, even a little snow in New Orleans and Baton Rouge, and put some snow in south and central areas of Georgia, right through the Midlands of South Carolina, even areas of the upstate, and then brings a swath of a few to several inches of snow up into North Carolina, southeast Virginia, southern areas of Maryland, and then it gets off the coastline there. It doesn't really show much of any at all really for the Northeast, so I don't really have that pulled up here, but of course it's a lot more aggressive, right? Just a few inches of snow showing up, I mean, that's enough to classify a southern snowstorm. I know that's pathetic for you folks tuning in up north, but that's how it is in the south. 2 to 3 inches of snow in the south is a snowstorm. But you look at the GFS ensemble, and this is what it's showing. And listen, I'm going to show you something really quick. But first off, I want to show you, an inch and a half to a 2 inch snowfall mean. And I got an inch and a half snowfall mean right here in Columbia, South Carolina. I am loving it. But of course, you want this to get a little more amped up. But listen, I'm telling you, I know I keep mentioning my area, and I know it might be irritating some people, but I'm never going to let that interfere with what we're seeing. And I do think we're going to trend this northwest to a degree. What is that degree going to be? Where is it going to stop? Is this going to trend all the way up to Nashville or Chattanooga or Huntsville, Alabama? I don't think it'll trend that far. But, for example, if you look at the GFS run from overnight, it had that axis of snow much further to the northwest. And it showed a whopper. And, it had everybody excited who lived in Alabama, northern Georgia, of course, the western areas, the Carolinas. Do not get caught up in these run-to-run swings. And it has even an axis of over a half a foot of snow in these purple areas. So you look at their latest run, it ticked back. Therefore, the GFS ensemble, this is the current run, but if you look at the run from overnight, it was a huge signal. But I will tell you, I don't like the GFS ensemble because it follows its operational run and it hugs it so much. So that's why I'm a big fan of the Euro and Euro ensemble. I think it's the best model runs in the world, in my opinion. even with AI guidance. But anyways, one thing I'm noticing with this, with the Canadian ensemble, which I really haven't showed much, is it's finally starting to bite on this. Has a half an inch, few tenths of an inch of snow mean here and there, and increases up into the mid-Atlantic. You compare that to the run yesterday afternoon, and it has definitely increased. And you like to see that for snow fans. Now, the icon, remember I showed you that it delivers some snow? I mean, check this out. Now, you're not going to like it from Georgia points west because it doesn't deliver as much snow. The Carolinas up into southeast Virginia, southern Maryland, and Delmarva Tidewater will certainly like this run. And it delivers a swath of accumulating snow from Columbia up to Fayetteville up to Raleigh. Cuts off right at Charlotte. Don't get bummed out. I'm telling you, this is not the final solution. Okay? So let's go back to this right here. See if we have the entirety of the run. See what's going to show for us. And we don't. We're all the way up to about mid-Saturday morning. So we'll try to go back to this. So let's show you some chances at seeing 1 inch of snow off the Euro ensemble. And this kind of turquoise color, or kind of bluish, getting into greenish yellow color, that is getting to a 30 to 40% chance of 1 inch of snow down here in southern Georgia and the eastern sections of the Carolinas. Once you get into this more yellowish color, it's a 40 to 50% chance. In eastern areas of North Carolina, 50 to 60, close to a 60% chance. This could change with model guidance. This is the overnight Euro ensemble. The next one is running right now. But let's just not get too caught up in the changes. Now, of course, it's higher on the GFS ensemble for obvious reasons. It's more amped up, and you got not necessarily higher chances, but more widespread higher chances. So, we got this signal for a 40, just about a 50% chance in kind of this area right in here of 1 inch of snow getting all the way up through Georgia, central South Carolina, into the upper southeast, mid-Atlantic region. All of this is for the energy associated with the trough. So we talk about energy, right? This is where we're going to kind of geek out with you guys for a minute. All right, what you're looking at here is pieces of energy in the upper levels of the atmosphere, about 18,000 feet up, vortices. So I'm going to draw on this, make sure we got the right colors here. You see this right here? This is the system moving through right now. The dots did not connect with it, and it's moving out, but it's bringing a pretty big time shot of really cold air behind it. Each little area of energy here you see brings cold air with it. So bring some strong cold air behind it. This is the next area of energy that we're watching dropping down out of Canada. Okay, so we get this in motion, and let's just look at the latest run here. We get this in motion here. We start to get into Friday morning. Now, this is the initial energy right here, okay, that's going to kind of dive into this area and bring some moisture for that Friday night, Saturday morning event. And you can see it coming down, digging in right here, a little bit of a bulge right here to the southeast. And then this energy right here is our event for Sunday, diving in. And we have trended this further to the west, therefore, and has an opportunity to dig further to the west and pop off a low pressure. So we keep moving here, and time, you can see the energy diving in, okay? And then it's digging down across the south, and this is getting into Sunday morning, and then it takes on a bit of a slightly positive, slightly neutral tilt, and then it moves across the southeast. That is our storm system. Now I want to draw on here really quick, okay? This is a positive tilt. It's a weaker storm system that could be on its way to a stronger storm system. This is a neutral tilt. A positive tilt that I just did goes to a neutral tilt if it's a strengthening storm system. That's when you can blossom a lot of moisture. You can still get moisture with a positive tilt, but not as much. When that neutral tilt, kind of vertical, north to south, south to north, goes to this is a negative tilt. I don't think we're going to get a negative tilt out of this storm system, but that's when you can pop off a big time low pressure. I think best case scenario for snow fans is a neutral tilt, in my opinion. So you look at this, and it's the same thing. As you're digging this down, this is the latest GFS. It's coming down here. Here comes our energy. Digging in, okay? And it takes on that positive to neutral tilt, and here's the energy scooting across the southeast. Okay, now let's go to this, and let's take a closer look at this and really analyze the energy and the differences between the more suppressed scenario of the Euro and the more amped up scenario of the GFS. What is the difference? As the Euro is diving in with the energy associated with it, Okay, we're getting into Saturday night and a Sunday morning, and we're going to stop it right. We're going to stop it right here. This is Sunday morning, sunrise Sunday morning. This is what the energy looks like. And then we're going to move this to the same time frame. This is the GFS. So let's look at this. Let's look at that. What is the difference we're seeing here? Let's compare it. Bang. Please stop doing that. Bang, 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 bang. One thing that I want to note is the placement of the energy, like of just the bulk of the energy. It doesn't change much. I mean, it's centered, for example, Sunday morning, like right over the deep south. Alabama, Mississippi. The most highlighted area of this energy is in the same spot. That doesn't change. So what's the difference here? Well, the euro, you see how this is kind of going a little bit more like this. Okay? A little bit of a positive to neutral tilt, kind of in between. And then the GFS is kind of bending a little bit more. It's kind of doing more so, you can barely tell. And that's the crazy thing. That is the tough thing about snow in the south and these setups. That little bit of a difference is making all the difference between more snow inland and a more of a suppressed coastal snow off the euro. You can barely see it. You can see kind of a digging area of energy a little bit better on the GFS, which indicates this system is strengthening at this time frame more compared to the euro. You see that? It's just kind of more up and down here. And then you look at this, it's kind of digging in more. That makes all the difference. Okay? Now, when you're talking about temperatures, and we're going to flip it. Remember, we had to go back to the OOZ to the O6Z, which is the current run. When you're looking at the cold air moving in, okay, this is temperatures at 850 millibars in Celsius. So, for example, that 0 degrees Celsius here is 32 degrees a mile up in the air. We look at the 850 millibar temperatures when we're trying to figure out if the atmosphere aloft above us, a mile above our heads, is cold enough for snow. It's one of the best things to look at. So we're always say Saturday evening based off what the euro is showing. And what we can say is this is probably going to be your snow line, give or take. Okay? Let's make a better color. I like yellow in this situation. This is your rain snow line. Okay? Too warm probably for snow at the surface and aloft. Plenty cold enough for snow here, but the moisture hasn't moved in. So as we continue to move forward here, okay, still too warm for a lot of areas, but you can see there's a lot of cold air aloft overspreading here. And then bang, this is like late morning, Sunday morning, and a good chunk of the southeast, your temperatures are dipping below 0 degrees, which means it's below 32 degrees. And Fahrenheit about a mile up in the atmosphere. So this entire temperature profile becomes cold enough for snow for the most part. At the surface, is it cold enough? Well, I think it can be depending on how cold the temperatures are aloft, a mile above our heads. People think that it has to be a certain temperature at the surface to snow. Absolutely not, guys. And that is what the public just doesn't understand, and I don't expect them to. If you're not very interested in the weather, then you're not going to give a rip. Just tell me if it's going to rain or snow, right? Or snow or not. But, in this setup, it's going to favor rain or snow. There's not going to be a whole lot of in between. So the cold air is moving in. So what I would say is the cold air is already in place in these areas right in here. So if we do get that northwest trend, you're going to be plenty of cold enough for snow. I think there's more of a warm air issue across these areas based off some model guides. The euro, not so much. But we got to watch this stuff. Okay? So before we wrap this up, let's go back to the euro ensemble, see what it's going to show for us. And yeah, it doesn't change a whole lot, honestly. In fact, I don't even think let's see. Yeah, it literally followed its euro run by going slightly drier. Honestly, the area of snow kind of tilted went a little bit north. Okay, but in general, it's still a nice look at this range. I'm telling you, that's a fantastic look at this range. Even if you live, say, in Atlanta, Greenville, Spartanburg, Charlotte, and it doesn't look that good, but I can tell you it's really increasing for Eastern North Carolina. So let's move past this and let's talk about the pattern out ahead. One thing we know is that it is a cold day. cold morning for many areas already. Its temperature's dropping like a rock here at my house right now. But this is cold blast number 1, moving in across the eastern U.S. Very cold temperatures, going to hit the teens here in my house in central South Carolina. Up north, if you're thinking that's not very cold, well, there's some winters where we don't even get below 20 degrees here in my neck of the woods. So we've already had multiple mornings in the teens, so it's pretty impressive. And then here comes our next shot of cold air associated with our storm system for Sunday, okay? Another blast of cold air, and then behind it, an even colder blast of air that's trended colder, especially for the Great Lakes region. It's going to be bitterly cold Monday into Tuesday up here. And then after that, we have a moderation period. I think it stays cold for the northern tier of the country, northeast, and we will try to warm up across the southern tier of the country before eventually cooling right back down at the end of the month. And there's a strong signal for this. We're going to talk about why right now. So this is starting early next week. You can see a deep digging trough over the eastern U.S. Going to bring that Arctic outbreak across areas of the country. Then you can see the ridge, which is why it warms up once we get into late next week and the next week, and we'll have a little bit of a warm up. Okay? And then a trough is still bowled out over Canada. So this tells me that we still have a ton of cold air kind of scooting through this region with a boundary setting up right here. Okay, so there's still, the cold air doesn't just completely go away. It just kind of buckles back to the north. And then at the very end of the run, you can see a signal for a trough in the blue digging back down across the eastern U.S. with the ridge shifting back into the central to western U.S., indicating the colder signal we just showed you on the temperature anomalies. Any kind of crazy model runs pretty far out? Not really. I want to watch a little system right into this time frame as we're getting into later this work week. If you do hear any loud noises in the background, my neighbor has a very loud truck, and for whatever reason, he likes to accelerate to about 60 miles per hour, going out the neighborhood all the way up to the stop sign. So if you hear that, that's what it is. Anyways, I'll try to elevate my voice and talk over it. But anyways, later next weekend, I do want to watch for a stronger amped up storm system, but it'll be too warm for most of the South, if not all of the South. And I do think we could have a big winter storm across areas of the Central Plains, the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, Northeast. So if you're bummed out that I haven't really been focusing in on you lately, trust me, a lot of our focus will go to you as we get into this time next week probably. And then a lot of cold air dropping down shows a winter storm across areas of the Central to Southern Plains breaking out. And you have this Arctic boundary setting up across the Southern Plains with a low pressure cutting across the Alps. Of course, we know that's not exactly the way it'll happen, but it shows a pretty active pattern getting into late next week. And then after that, a lot of cold air going zonal, but of course, we can have an Arctic outbreak in that time frame too. GFS, there it is, that little time frame around this time next week. Snow trying to move into eastern Tennessee, areas of the Alps. We'll have to watch that system into next weekend. A lot of energy begins to scoot across the country because of that ridge that builds up against the trough. We'll have sort of a zone where all the moisture will cross, and then we get into 300 hours out, and who knows what in the world will happen after that. MJO, listen guys, this favors no end to winter in sight, okay? We're going to get into phase 8. We're going to cruise through phase 7 over the next 7 to 10 days or so, and we're going to get into phase 8. Once we get into phase 8, this is the 24th of January, 26th. Listen, I just think that we are going to go full send on winter again. We got so much to talk about right ahead of us, but it ain't slowing down. We might get a little warm up across the southern tier of the country late next week and the next weekend. But if we get into phase 8, guys, and we hang out there, we're going to get more winter weather chances for areas of the South. So, conditions today, a lot of energy diving across areas of the Northeast. We got energy scooting down to Canada. We got some northwest flow snow. Let me know if you're seeing any snowflakes in Nashville this morning. Some energy scooting across Florida. Man, it'd be nice if it had rained in my neck of the woods. We didn't get any rain from the system once again yesterday. Watches, warnings, and advisories. We got winter storm warnings continuing in the Smokies. Freeze warnings up across Florida, southern Georgia, southeast Alabama. I mean, goodness, have you guys not seen a freeze yet? That is crazy. But the Northeast, we got winter storm warnings ongoing right now. Winter weather advisories in the purple. And we got a lot of wind alerts with a big trough beginning to dive in. And we'll be diving in with reinforcing energy over the next 3 or 4 days. The Southeast, rain will continue to move across the southern tip of Florida. I think we'll continue to have snow showers across the mountains of Tennessee, North Carolina, up into Virginia, eastern Kentucky, West Virginia. And then we'll have more energy trying to scoot in tomorrow morning. We'll have to watch for that. But up in the Northeast, this is an ongoing winter weather event across the interior sections of the Northeast. Certainly, not a huge event for you guys' standards, but enough for them to pump out winter storm warnings for what's going on right now. I think tomorrow morning we'll start to get some energy that moves in. This is really tomorrow night, and you can see, I think we'll get some pretty heavy snow across the mountains of West Virginia, Allegheny Mountains, Western Maryland, into Western PA. Let me slow down. But this is getting into tomorrow night. Don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. The South Central U.S. looks dry, looks quiet for the most part. Could get rain-snow mix that dives into Kansas and the Missouri tomorrow morning. And then the North Central U.S., we continue to get this crazy, kind of very, very individual lake effect snow band working its way north to south across Lake Michigan. And then we're going to get a clipper that begins to dive in this afternoon to this evening. Sorry, guys. If I'm twisting my words up, I'm running out of gas here. I've been talking for 30 minutes. But this is going to bring some accumulating snow across areas of the upper Midwest, the cold snow too. And the pattern will continue, just rounds of snow that's getting into tomorrow morning. Clipper really tries to get going and spin around the Great Lakes region. We got snow trying to drift as far south as the southern Midwest area. Snowfall between now and between now and about 12 a.m. Sunday, accumulating snow expected for a large section of the Great Lakes region. A couple inches of snow in Chicago, and of course several inches of snow here in northwest Indiana with this lake effect snow band ongoing. Indianapolis, an inch or two of snow is possible. So that's that. Out west, nothing. Absolutely nothing to really speak on. Band of snow could make its way through areas of Wyoming later tonight into northeast Colorado. We'll watch for that. Dakota, some light snow, but not a big deal. Temperatures, it is going to be Arctic up in this region. Highs will only be in the teens across the Ohio Valley. Very cold air. It'll be a very cold day across the southeast, certain areas of Tennessee, even northern Georgia, mountains of North Carolina will not get above freezing, maybe not even out the teens. And out west, it is warm. That's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless all y'all. We'll do it again tonight. Follow me on X. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on all those profiles. We have a lot of fun when we're breaking down winter weather, folks. I mean, it's a lot of fun. And I'm really enjoying myself with it. Share these videos with your fans, with your friends and family. That'd be great. The videos really aren't popping off as much as I thought they would with snow on the horizon for areas of the southeast. I'm not sure why, but it is what it is. I'm having a whole lot of fun. I love doing this. And, hopefully some of these videos will get out there a little bit more. But if not, hopefully we can just get some snow for, areas that did not see much last year. I know from that Gulf system a year ago, my area kind of got whiffed. I think I got like 9/10 of an inch of snow. So I'm really pulling for something here in my neck of the woods. But anyways, I'm just yapping my jaw now. God bless all y'all. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk again tonight.